It looked like Manchester United might maintain their winning start to the season, but then Breda Hangeland made up for his own goal. So Alex said Fulham finished the better.
You've got to give credit to Fulham, they deserve the point.
Andy Carroll became the first Newcastle player to score a Premier League hat-trick in 5 years as they smashed 6 past Villa, 6-0, the most common scoreline in the top division this weekend. In total, 45 goals so far, and that's before the Monday Night Football.
But first, the main headlines. Today I'm going to explain to you a list of media definitions. After that, I will then present it and relate it to a company called News Co-orporation. Before we become familiar with the company News Co-orporation, first you need to become familiar with some terms that relate to the company. So what's the media industry sector? All media-based areas merge into one sector. The sectors inside of the media industry consists of 11 areas: film, TV, publishing, radio, photo imaging, animation, interactive media, computer games, press, advertising and marketing. What's private ownership? When an individual or group of people inherits their own money into a business or company which isn't on the stock market, it wouldn't be available to the public. So that's private ownership when they take over the company themselves. What's a public service media? This is a broadcasting company, for example the BBC, which is funded by the public, with its targets being to inform, entertain and to educate and represent all areas of society with a duty to serve the society. What's a multinational? A company which operates in several countries around the world. What's independence? A company that isn't influenced or owned by any other companies and is owned by only one person or group. What's a conglomerate? When a big company owns a single or more likely variety of small companies. Voluntary? A company that doesn't have any financial rules, where it's a business that isn't for profit making. Cross-media? Where they own more than one media format, like a gaming company then producing DVDs, storybooks and films, etc. etc. Diversification. This is the process of buying other businesses to expand the company into different sectors. For example, Kellogg's, who create cereals. If they decide to make a box of biscuits and sell them, they have to buy a biscuit company. This is therefore called diversification. Vertical and horizontal integration. This is defined as buying different steps of production to gain profit. If a shoe company buys out a leather company, it earns profit, but if the leather company closes down or goes into administration, it affects the shoe company. Horizontal integration. This means the businesses aren't linked. For example, for someone who owns a shoe company and purchases a restaurant, they can't affect each other in any way. Share of ownership. When a company is shared by more than one person, so the business is shared out as well as its products, profits and paperwork, etc. Mergers and takeovers. If a small company merges with another small company, they are both merging as they have similar financial and business experience. If a big company owns a small company, this is defined as a takeover, as the big company has more experience and money, etc. Cross-media regulation. It is here to make sure that no one owns too much of a media ownership to therefore have too much influence. Sources of income. This is where you get your money. For example, for a student, money that comes from their parents if they're paying for their student way through college, or perhaps some of your income may come from a job that the school may have supplied. This is therefore named sources of income, where you get your money from. Product diversity. This is basically different types of products. Profitability of product range. This means the level of profits being made from a range of products. Performance against concerns. How your outgoings compare to your income. Making sure that all the money is at a sustainable amount to pay for different areas in a company, so that the wages are able to be provided, materials are able to be bought to make the products, etc., etc. Organisational objectives. When objectives are set for an organisation as to where they want to be in maybe a week, month or year's time, for example, if a games company says that they will be the biggest in the UK by 2013. Licenses and franchise. Licenses are defined as buying the right to use someone else's image, product or idea. If this isn't done rightly so, then it's therefore copyright, which is illegal. So an organisation must buy the rights to be able to promote products that they make which involves other organisations' image, etc. Franchises are purchasers of business models. McDonald's is a perfect example of this. Competitors. When two or more companies are in competition in earning more profits or having more popular products, etc., this is therefore competing. Customers. Customers are members of the public who purchases products from a business. In many situations, this can help keep companies alive. Although the customers aren't of high numbers, the business could risk going into administration. National and global competition and trends. This is when a company has a trend of having more popular products, so they therefore create more products to keep up with the popularity. This will therefore earn the business more profits. For example, if a film company produces a film that is highly rated, then they will produce another film to keep up with the trend. Also, this can be defined in competing with other companies to produce products nationally or globally. News Co-orporation, a global vertically integrated and multinational media company operating in a large variety of countries across the globe, from here in the UK itself all the way around to Australia down under. News Corporation was created in 1979 by Rupert Murdoch as a holding company for News Limited. It was created by Murdoch from the assets he inherited in 1952 following the death of his father, Sir Keith Murdoch. The main asset left to him was the ownership of the Adelaide afternoon tabloid, The News. News Corporation is a conglomerate, describing itself as a constellation of media businesses. These include the production and distribution of motion pictures and television programming. Some also include television, satellite and cable broadcasting, the publication of newspapers, magazines and books, the production and distribution of promotional and advertising products and services, and the development of digital broadcasting. Some of the companies owned by News Corporation include UK's Sky B, ITV, the newspapers The Sun, The News of the World, The Times and The Sunday Times. Also Sky as well, and this is a multinational company. Asia's largest broadcaster, Star TV, the United States of America's Fox News, New York Post, Dow Jones, Wall Street Journal, and 20th Century Fox. News Limited currently operates today as News Corporation's Australian brand, operating out of Surrey Hills in Sydney. Being renowned as a multinational media conglomerate headquartered in New York City, United States, it is the world's second largest media conglomerate as of 2011 in terms of revenue, and the world's third largest in entertainment as of 2009, although the BBC remains the world's largest broadcaster. In August 2005, the Murdoch family owned only about 29% of the company. However, nearly all of these shares were voting shares, and Rupert Murdoch retained effective control of the company. Nonetheless, John Malone and Liberty Media have built up a large stake, with about half of these shares being voting shares. Therefore, in November 2006, News Corporation announced its intention to transfer its 38.5% managing interest in Direct TV Group to John Malone's Liberty Media. In return, it bought back Liberty's 16.3% shares in News Corp, giving Murdoch tighter control of the latter firm. Prince Al-Walid bin Talal Al Saud of Saudi Arabia, through his Kingdom Holding Company, owns 7% of News Corp shares, making Kingdom Holdings the second largest shareholder. Murdoch sold 17.5 million Class A shares in December 2007. This company has a wide range of product diversity. Some include books, magazines, music and radio, sport, studios, TV and websites. Here are some of News Corp's key operations around the world. In Australia and New Zealand, News Corp owns 44% of the Sky network in Australia, Mr Murdoch's country of birth, and New Zealand, and is bidding to operate a government-funded international TV service currently operated by national broadcaster ABC. The company owns some 150 national and local newspapers in Australia, including The Australian, The Telegraph and The Herald Sun. It also owns a 50% stake in a Premier Media Group, which operates 9 Fox TV channels in Australia. In Asia, under the Star name, News Corp owns 9 cable channels across Asia and owns or holds significant shares in 8 others. It also has a 20% stake in India's Tata Sky channel. News Corp owns a majority stake in the Papua New Guinea Post-Courier newspaper. It also owns the Wall Street Journal's Asia edition. In Europe, News Corporation owns a 39% share of British Sky Broadcasting, B-Sky B, but Mr Murdoch is hoping to eventually buy it outright. The News of the World was Britain's biggest selling weekly newspaper, with some 3 million copies being printed every week. With its closure, the company now owns only 3 newspapers in Britain: The Times, Sunday Times and The Sun. Also in Italy, News Corporation owns Sky Italia, and in Germany has a 45% share in Sky Deutschland. In the US and Canada, News Corporation owns several high-profile US newspapers, including the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post and the Community Newspaper Group, which offers a wide range of financial papers, including Barron's and MarketWatch, and operates several news information services. The company has extensive ownership in the US television, right through to Fox Network and the National Geographic channels. It owns 27 local Fox TV stations, and Mr Murdoch has described the hugely influential Fox News as simply unstoppable. 10 News Corp film companies, including 20th Century Fox and Fox Searchlight Pictures, are also largely based in the US and took some £7.6 billion in 2010. The company owns a third of the Hulu online film rental service. In Africa and the Middle East, News Corporation owns a 9% share in the Rotana network. This broadcasts a range of channels across Middle East and North Africa. Internationally, News Corporation owns HarperCollins Publishing across the US, Canada, Europe, New Zealand and Australia, and also part owns HarperCollins Asia. It also part owns several marketing and digital media groups. Mr Murdoch recently sold most of his stake in the MySpace social networking site for $35 million. The Fox and National Geographic networks have a huge global reach through their news and entertainment TV channels.
statetv.tv.